So I just wanted to make a quick video about standards for breeds of dogs, considering our nationals and our regionals just happened last week. I thought that would be a good time. So a lot of people like to say that, show breeders are ruining breeds, blah, 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 what have you. And what people need to remember is that standards are up for interpretation a bit. They are a bit subjective to what the judge sees, to people who are breeding. And that's why, unfortunately, so many people run away and create these hypertypes because that's how they interpreted the standard. Now, some people would say that Neapolitan people have done that. There are a few, but what needs to be remembered is that Neapolitan Mastiffs are already naturally a bit overdone. And when I say overdone, that doesn't mean grotesque. That doesn't mean unable to do what they're bred to do. It just means they're not like a Doberman or something. And so I am going to put in right now a picture of last year's national winner and then this year's national winner. So the first dog that won last year is more the type of dog I prefer. Heavier, not overdone. He's a bit typey in the face, but he's still by no means overdone. He moved beautifully. If you saw that dog coming at you like aggressively, you would go because you know he'd be able to take you down. Moves well, moves effortlessly. He's a great dog. But then the next one is actually Shining Hills Hilario. I know he's still young. I can't remember how young he is, but that's actually my friend Brandy who has him. Hilario is a lot more plain. He's a lot lighter boned, but he's still a good dog in his own rights. I mean, obviously he is. He won Best of Breed at the National. But what's important to remember, it doesn't take an expert or a breed expert to notice the differences in type between those two dogs, between last year's winner and this year's winner. And Hilario is a lot closer to the dogs you would see over in like Europe. And the judge who actually pulled him for Best of Breed was in Europe. So she likes much more moderate dogs. That being said, she likes moderation, but with type. If a Neapolitan Mastiff's lacking type, it's not a Neo. It's basically a Cane Corso. The whole entire point of this video is to show you standards are subjective, and that's unfortunately why we have a lot of inconsistencies in certain breeds, because people run away with it. They always have, and unfortunately, they always will. I took a video with a banquet, and there was really, really good conversations between the judges and what they wanted to see fixed, what they feel has been vastly improved. So I'll post those later. I know I still haven't gotten around to it, but I just want to get the judge's name. And I also think that's really important too, why people need to not get upset if their dog doesn't place or doesn't take Best of Breed or Best Opposite or Select or what have you. Because Via has been against Hilario before and won over him every single time. Best of Breed. Via would take Best of Breed, Hilario would take like Best Opposite Sex, what have you. But that's because Via is much more to the type of the AKC judges here. Now, that doesn't mean Hilario is not a bad dog. I love him. He's a sweetheart. He's great. But I mean, like every dog, they do have their faults. But standards are, in a way, subjective. They're always going to be, because everybody's going to interpret it differently. So just, if you show dogs, we're all going to disagree. Everybody wants to win, but standards are subjective. Doesn't mean you have a bad dog, but the dog that won last year, he took a few things, but he didn't necessarily fare well as well in this ring, because our judge likes the much more moderate dogs. He's heavier, a little bit more type, and that's okay. That's what the judge last year preferred. And I know there's a huge misconception in Neapolitans that they're super unhealthy. And, oh, AKC judges don't care, people don't care. Our dogs will actually be disqualified in the ring if they show any sort of health issue. A gimp, skin infection, eye infection, they will be removed. They won't even be considered because we care about the health. And as a matter of fact, there were quite a few dogs that were excused, not going to get into it. Lots of drama, so. But to that, I will say that one of the awards they wanted our judge for the Nationals to pick out was Best Head. And I will post a photo of that here. And if I remember correctly, that was the dog that took runners up last year. But again, between that dog and Hilario, you can tell the dog that got Best Head has a lot more type than Hilario. Again, it's very, very subjective. And people in the Neo community are trying to find that happy medium. You know what I mean? We want to keep the type, obviously. Neapolitans are supposed to be like, wow. You look at them and they're like, wow, that's an impressive dog. But they have to be able to do what they were bred for. Guarding the house, guarding people. So it's just really interesting to, see last year as compared to this year. And another interesting thing is last year, Via didn't take anything. Nothing. And this year, she took an award of merit on one day. So it's, again, I feel like people get really upset when their dog doesn't get pulled for a show or for every single show. And just remember, subjectivity per judge, different interpretation of the standard. Doesn't mean you have a bad dog. It just means the judge interprets the standard in a way that they don't think your dog fits. You don't have a bad dog. Judge just interpreted the standard a bit different.